All right, we'll be back from the break. Many thanks for being part of Smart Means Business. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko with Andrew Barigi, still here to take you through different kinds of business updates. And now we're getting on to our on-ground discussions. Andrew, what do we have on the on-ground today?
Yeah, today we shall be looking at development of the fishing business. We came to realize that why sometimes, for you to profit from something, you need to really add value to it.
Very true.
Because once it's processed efficiently, you're going to attract more profitability. So now that's the challenge most fishermen have been facing in Uganda. They are doing the business well, but they don't know that product development, in other words. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And now we see an organization here working hand in hand with MAIF, and of course to ensure that they train the fishermen towards product development. So that's going to be the discussion, our on-ground discussion today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, let's get it in regards to the business development in fishing. Of course, some other key findings is that there's still limited investment in the sector. There is also improper processing limits, which have limited profitability.
Improper processing, the way you process, which limits, like what I've been saying, all coming back to the aspect of value addition. Because remember, the markets you're selling to are very competitive, and you have other players in the region.
I know.
So we have to pull your A game.
Okay.
To ensure
we do have Joyce Nyeko, who is the former director of fisheries at of course, in the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry and Fisheries, of course, giving us more details in regards to this particular one. We also have Adolf Gastel, who is a project leader at GIS RFBCB. Let's get it in here.
We chose where the fishing district on Lake Victoria to start with, because that's where we worked. Now we moved to Lake Choga. We will go next year to do the business development as well. We can't work in other districts because there might not be fishing districts. And the gaps where we saw that a lot of fish is coming out of the lake, a lot of fish is worked on, a lot of fish is traded and processed, but not always in the best way. If you don't cut it nicely, if you don't process it proper, you might not get the maximum profit out of it. And that's where we came in. We said, look here, you have the fish, but maybe you need more knowledge to kind of prepare the fish according to what the market needs. And that's where we kind of saw the gap, and that's where we wanted to come in. The second one, of course, is not everybody who does business knows how to calculate a profit, Sometimes people do profit, by the end of the day they said, no, I have no money out of it, We said, hold on, calculate first, look into it, How do you do business which is profitable for you? And that's where the gaps we had identified, the business part and the processing part.
Of all sectors, why fishing?
Because we are a fishing project. No, we are a project which is called Responsible Fisheries Business Chains Project. So we are trying to make sure that fisheries is done responsible and sustainable, and we work with all actors along the fisheries value chain. That starts from fishing, from transporting, from trading, from processing, and that's why this was natural to kind of choose beneficiaries for our business development training out of the fisheries sector, because that is our target group.
What is the country's potential in terms of fishing, if it is given a lot of attention? What is its potential?
The potential is there. We could almost double the fish which we catch, but not much more, because there's a limit to it. What you have in the lakes, what you can keep as a stock, and you harvest off that stock every year. The rest has to come from aquaculture. Now what we can do, and what we can do better, that the fish which we have, we can process it better, so that we don't have any losses, that we don't throw any parts away. We have learned today you can make sausages, or the bones of the Nile perch you grind, you have a fish powder, which you can use. So we have to make sure that we use the fish, that we use all parts of the fish in a sustainable way and in a way which is profitable for our people who work in the fisheries. And the potential for fisheries is huge in Uganda. I mentioned it at the beginning today. 1% of the world fisheries comes out of Lake Victoria. So it's a massive fishery, And Uganda has definitely a third of that one, because we have a third of the lake, plus we have other lakes. We have Albert, George, Edward, and Choga. So the potential is there. We have to make sure that we make sure that we have a stock in the lakes and that stock is managed. Not to overfish, not to take out the young ones, so that every year we can take a certain tonnage of mature fish out of our lakes.
Of course, the gap which is still existing, I can say, there is still limited investment in the fisheries sector, fisheries and aquaculture generally. There's still a limited investment. You've seen we have been giving some engines and some nets and cooler boxes. These are areas which still need more funding, because there are people who feel they are engaging in illegalities because they cannot afford the illegal gears, the illegal boat and the illegal engines, because they think their income is too low for them to invest. Because for you to have a boat of 28 feet, you need about 2 million. For you to have an engine of say 9 horsepower, you need around 12 million. For you to have some certain nets, you need about 500,000. So you can see the investment needed. So there are those people who are really, we feel they are poor. This is where we have come up with a program as a government. We are only looking for funding. We have already developed a program where we are going to identify those people in the community who are really desperate, who are needy to be supported with the fishing equipment so that they can transition from using illegal gears to using the legal ones. Then when you look at the processing part of it, yes, we have tried to give some samples. I call them samples because if you look at drying racks, which were not brought here, plus the solar dryer because of their size, these are required at every landing site. So we still require a lot of funding for us to see that we roll out these technologies to other landing sites, the modern smoking kilns, so that they can produce quality product that is acceptable at international level. The solar dryer, to get mukene dried, even when it's raining, we can have quality mukene, which can be for human consumption, not just for animal feed. So that is still another area. When you come to value addition, there are still a number of products we can produce from fisheries, but we don't have the technologies. The technologies are out there, like those for making sausages. They have been demonstrated here, they exist. But we still need a lot of funding for us to be able to procure more of this and reach more groups, because individually they cannot afford this. So we as government need to give an input to push them forward as a startup. What we used to call what? Bonabaga, no, entandikwa. So even in the fishing community, they need entandikwa to push them, and then they take over from there and multiply and sustain them. And of course, the act is out, but to enforce the fisheries laws requires a lot of money. Government still needs to look for money to put in for us to have sustainable enforcement and to bring on board other stakeholders to work together with the department to make sure we sustainably manage the resources.
Of course, that is it when it comes to business development in the fishing industry. The fishing sector being regulated so highly lately.
Very. And of course, in that way, and we know, fishing has been one of our, can I say, culture way back, from the way times when the explorers came in Uganda. I mean, we used to do the fishing, and it was something that really generated a source of livelihood for so many communities, not only just getting money, but also food, because getting food. But lately, due to that too much regulations and all across the lake, it's becoming a little bit too much. And also coming down to the attributions, the fact that I remember some time back, I think that was in 2004, where some of our fish had some issues when we exported to other countries, saying that there was this aspect of the methods of fishing that you used to use, because some people used to use poison to fish, and remember you're exporting it to the markets out there.
Fishing methods.
Poor fishing methods, and that kind of put a restriction on that on our fish to the other countries. But lately, we've been trying to come up, to make sure that we make we now at least we improve on the fishing methods. But then it should go beyond just improving fishing methods. We need to develop the product that we are pushing out there. Yes. And that's why over the years we are seeing all these initiatives and coming to this very one, which is quite very positive. And we believe that once the fishermen embrace this, because now they've been moving to the different regions, now around Lake Victoria. Yeah. Now they're going to go to Lake Albert, Lake Choga, all those areas, fishing areas, training people how this is really put into place. But, however, this can only, I think it will only be of great influence if there is a little bit of, lightening up the restrictions. Okay. Because I feel like this is all in vain once people are not given the chance. Maybe another aspect is people who grow fish in ponds, fish farming. Yeah. We can look at that aspect and we try to put aside, because the bigger picture here is the product you're putting out there, So you get the fish, grow it in your pond, but then after you've gotten it out, now it's quite mature, ready for to be put out in the market for sale. Well, do the methods that you've been taught, develop the product like the way it's been taught. Because I think that's one of the ways to erase, and that's like this whole aspect of restrictions, and I think that has been the major factor which has been hindering our fish performance in terms of exporting fish in a way. But when it comes to the processing, I believe our Ugandan farmers are willing to take in this aspect to ensure that they develop this fish and sell it out there to other markets within the East African region, most especially, and also for export. Looking at the products which can be gotten out of that very product.
Okay. Yeah. And besides that, in the morning as we kick-started off the show, we talked about, we had an update that was rotating around milk exports, dairy exports in general. Where President Museveni did reveal that Uganda's exports to Algeria, we have now a market which is worth $150 million.
150, yeah.
So by the look of things, that's a very huge amount of money. A lot we need to explore. This comes after apparently Kenya suspended
our milk.
No, they suspended the ban that they had actually put. So because they had initially banned the importation of our dairy products. Of course, citing a number of issues, not only consistency in quality, but also the fact that their farmers the other side had, the kind of weather that we're actually living in currently is actually, it helps. It helps when it comes to the high levels of production. Because the weather is more friendly, so that means there is the availability of milk in Kenya still with the cattle in there. Okay. So this is one of the reasons as to why they had banned, and of course they had stopped importing. But however, last week they suspended that ban, which means their chances are quite high that this time around we can still export to Kenya. Although President Museveni had already secured a deal in Algeria, now we also have a secured market with Zambia. There's the UAE for powdered milk. So I think even when we look through this, this is something that we should be proud of.
Yeah, very true. And actually very true. And I believe, despite the fact that Kenya suspended the ban, it shouldn't make us really sit down. Milk in itself has lots of things that can be made out of it. So, apart from the powder, which we're exporting now to most of the countries, actually, the powdered milk. We can look at quite lots of things. Do you know the Indian food biryani? Biryani, you've tested it?
I haven't. I just see it over social media, and apparently it is one of, it's just like, I hear this, is it rice biryani?
Rice biryani, there is chicken biryani, there is
cheese
mutton
biryani and stuff.
Cheese, not really. There's vegetable, egg. I think
there's no rice biryani, but I think
rice biryani is there.
Is there?
But
I haven't tested any of those.
It's more of, they call it biryani rice.
Okay.
Biryani. Yeah. have a chance to engage with Indians, and I happen to be there when they're making it in the kitchen.
Is it tasty though? As it looks?
Very tasty.
Okay.
Most especially mutton biryani.
Okay.
I think one of these days, probably towards Easter, I'll find a way we can order some biryani.
Okay.
We eat it after the show.
Okay.
You'll like it.
Okay.
Yeah. It is nice.
I'll buy that one. Indeed. I'll buy that idea of yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I saw in that biryani there is milk. They get milk and they store it in the fridge. Okay, not necessarily that, but it kind of, when you keep milk for so long, and after when you put it out in the heat, it kind of gets spoiled. It develops some
What
sort
we
of
call bongo.
So what they could do, they could keep it somewhere.
Okay.
Now on the day for biryani, because every Sunday was biryani, they could bring it out. They put it in the cooking oil.
Okay.
When it's it starts to burn of sort. It's already bongo, but it's burning, and it has a very fresh smell, which gives the biryani a good taste.
So that means India does also avail itself as a potential.
So
market space
for such, because mayonnaise itself. I mean,
yes, very true.
Yeah, we can look at products. Well, we can create. We can look way beyond milk because, I know there are lots of competitors that are also distributing powdered milk.
True.
We have,
yes, very true, and top quality. But now you see this milk which they use in the biryani, like I was saying, it's not processed in any way. It's natural, like the way you make it. That means you're cutting costs, production. So you export to the Indians and they make biryani in their countries because they use it. They use it a lot. We can explore like mayonnaise because not so many countries really look up to such, but this is where we can grow our competitive advantage through milk. Whereby we can be in position to explore more markets. Whereby even though Kenya or any other country, one day, even Algeria, you never know. What if they also wake up and they're like, we don't need your powdered milk? Yeah, what will happen afterwards?
What will happen? Yes. But we have India, if we had entered a deal into India, because biryani is an international dish.
We still export there.
Export there.
Not as much as
not as much as yes.
But of course, by the look of things, I think these are markets we are expanding.
Yes.
Greater markets. I think it's a big advantage for Uganda. Big advantage for the farmers and stakeholders in the dairy sector in the country. And tell you what, it's a big time for us to be very competitive when it comes to the level of exports and yearning for these particular markets that are not easily found anywhere. Okay, and of course starting with the African continent, that makes it even more viable and realistic for Uganda. 150 million US dollars worth of a market in Algeria. President Museveni revealed that last week on Thursday as he was addressing Parliament at the Kololo ceremonial grounds. 10 minutes to 10 o'clock and we're officially signing out here. Smart Means Business. Joram Paul Sonko, and I've been with Barija Andrew full time. Today we're enjoyed by any reporter whatsoever, and maybe along the week, along the journey, we shall be getting one to discuss more business updates as they happen. It's Monday, cold one, trust me. And of course, for everyone out there who's trying to start up your business day, traffic jam is at its most peak this morning because of the fact that it has rained and some people had actually delayed their time of getting ready to work, and some of them maybe hit the road but that easy, if so, especially when it has actually rained. I did mention that it started raining as early as 2 a.m. in the morning, so you can easily know how it has been, how the rain a cup of tea for breakfast. It will do you well. For the entire team here, it's a good morning from us. Till tomorrow, have a good day and a good morning.